If you're heading to the great outdoors, be sure to think big. I'm WEIU's Lacey Spence, and in this episode, I'll share why you should take a hike to Giant City State Park.
Take a Hike on WEIU is supported by Rural King, America's farm and home store, camping supplies, kayaks, fishing and pet supplies, and more. Find your store and more information regarding Rural King at ruralking.com.
Hi, I'm WEIU's Lacey Spence. I've lived in Central Illinois my whole life, and if there's one thing I've learned, you don't have to go too far to find the beauty of the great outdoors. Come along with me as I visit a variety of parks and natural areas across Illinois, and share why you should take a hike to each episode's location. Adventure and fun await in Take a Hike, the mini-series. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Take a Hike. I'm your host, Lacey Spence, and today we are among the giants. We are at Giant City State Park, and we have a fabulous guest with us today. Would you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
I would love to. My name is Jennifer Randolph-Bollinger, and I am the park naturalist here at the fabulous Giant City State Park. And park naturalist is the best job in the world. So I get to go out with people like Lacey and take school groups out and do all the fun stuff.
Say I have like the second best job in the world because I get to go around and meet people like you.
Sure.
So let's just kind of start. Is there any history or anything behind Giant City State Park?
Oh my gosh, there's so much history here. Yeah. So Giant City State Park became a state park in 1927, but prior to that, it was a huge tourist destination. So when you get down to Giant City, you quickly learn what the giants of Giant City are when you see our large sandstone rock formations. So this has always been kind of a draw for locals and tourists alike, just because it's such a unique place. I mean, if you go a mile north of Giant City State Park, it's flat. When you get down here, you get the beautiful sandstone, limestone bluffs in southern Illinois.
Yeah, we are very familiar with the flat where we're from in Charleston. And so when people come here, there seems to be recreation opportunities everywhere you look. So can you kind of talk about that? What draws people in?
So here at Giant City, my goodness, where do I start? There are so many things to do. We have 8 different hiking trails, and they range from 1/3 of a mile all the way to 12 miles. We have a newly accessible trail, our Post Oak Trail, which is nice and flat and up to ADA standards. We have a 12-mile backpacking trail for those who want to maybe start trying their hand at backpacking. It's a great little intro trail.
Yeah.
It's 12 miles, and then 6 miles in, we have a campsite where people can camp. We have horse stables here. So people can come and go horseback riding. We also have horse trails. People can bring their horses to the park and ride their horses here at Giant City on our 12-mile horse trail. We have climbing opportunities. So where we're standing now is our fabulous Devil's Stand Table Trail, which is 1/3 of a mile. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are anchors here in the rocks. And I'm actually surprised there aren't more climbers here today.
Probably since it's a work day.
It's a work day, yeah. But the weekends will bring more climbers here. We have unique flora and fauna. So we have, and this is my favorite trail, the Trillium Trail in the park is a 2-mile loop. It's an Illinois designated nature preserve. And if you come mid to late April, it is absolutely on fire with wildflowers. It's absolutely beautiful. The namesake trillium comes from all of the beautiful white trilliums, but if you catch it just right, you'll also see yellow celandine poppies and purple larkspurs, pink geraniums. It's absolutely fabulous. So, and then we also have a very healthy wildlife population here. We have, you know, all of the traditional things that you would find in the forests of southern Illinois. You know, skunk, possum. We have bobcat here, which if you're really lucky, you'll get to see. We have a very healthy deer population, a turkey population, which brings me to hunting. We do allow hunting here at Giant City, so we do get lots of hunters. I mean, the recreational possibilities here are just endless. We also have ponds for fishing for those who like to fish. And we have lots of creeks for getting in and stomping around in.
Well, gosh, okay, so there was a lot there. Let's back up. Let's unpack a couple of things.
Okay.
So before we started recording today, you were telling me, I believe it was of the Trillium Trail, that there were some special species discovered there?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Sure. The Trillium Trail, which I said was an Illinois designated nature preserve, in the late 1890s, there were 2 plants discovered there, never before known to science. So the first one is the Forbes saxifrage and the French's shooting star. So I think it's pretty cool that never before known to science, they were discovered here at Giant City State Park, and they still bloom on our Trillium Trail. So mid to late April again is the perfect time to come and see those blooming here at the park.
And I don't know if it's a display you keep up year round, but in your visitor center, there's a really neat display that tracks month by month what beautiful wildflowers you have around.
Oh, yeah.
So is it just April? When is the best time to come check out the wildflowers?
So I would say just about any time is
no
a good
wrong time. We love that. Yeah.
But really, if you're wanting those spring ephemerals, ephemeral meaning quickly fleeting, so they're only around for a short time.
Okay.
When the forest canopy fills in, then we lose our ephemerals. But if you're wanting to see those beautiful spring ephemerals, I would say mid to late April is the best time to come and check those out. It really depends on what kind of winter we've had and how cold it's been. But usually it's a pretty safe bet to come mid to late April.
Awesome. And so then you also mentioned wildlife. Again, going through your visitor center. Flying squirrels.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
We absolutely can. You know, as a Southern Illinois native, I mean, I grew up in this area. I had no idea that we had flying squirrels.
Yeah.
And the reason being is that they're mostly nocturnal. So of course, when we're sleeping, they're out moving around and they're very elusive, but we do indeed have a great population of flying squirrels here in Southern Illinois. We do have some flying squirrel boxes out in strategic locations. So we know they're here, but they are elusive.
Yeah. Really got to plan your trip if you were trying. And are you allowed to be in the park at night, or?
So the park is open until 10 p.m.
Okay.
But our trails do close at dusk.
Sundown.
And the reason being is because, you know, there's drop-offs in the park and it can be a little dangerous. So we prefer that people are off the trail by dusk.
Now, I was reading up on rock climbing. Not any sort of professional or anything like that, but I have to ask. In one of the info packets, I suppose it was, talking about reaching into the holes, and there may or may not be wildlife in there.
So that's, yes. So, you know, in Illinois, we have 3 venomous snakes in Southern Illinois. So that would be your timber rattlesnakes, which are beautiful and very elusive. We have the water moccasins, which you can find if you go down south, like to Cache River. But here at Giant City, we have copperheads. And so it's not like you're going to see copperheads everywhere. And when it's warm like this, they tend to stay where it's nice and cool. But yeah, I mean, it's always a good thing to be aware of the fact that we do have a venomous snake here at the park. There's a lot of popular misconceptions about venomous snakes, unfortunately. I am an enthusiast. I love to photograph them. And contrary to popular belief, I have never had a snake chase me or try to get me. It's quite the opposite. They don't want to be anywhere around people. And if you think about it, Giant City State Park gets 1 million visitors a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of foot traffic coming through the trails. So those snakes are not going to be anywhere out where there's going to be people. And if somebody does happen to see one, you know, they're going to do one of 2 things. They're either going to stay perfectly still and hope that you don't see them, or they're going to try to get away as quickly as possible. But if you are out climbing, it is always a good idea to look where you're placing your hands first. And that's not just for rock climbers, that's for hikers as well. If you're hiking and you're stepping over a log, you always want to look first before you step. And I have to say, for visitors, to come to Giant City and see a copperhead snake, you would be very lucky.
Fair enough. I mean, that's all I needed to hear. The creepy crawlies are not exactly my favorite. So as we're standing here today in the shade under some beautiful trees.
It's a gorgeous day.
I have to ask, there's several trees that you can see when you come here, quite a variety. Are you able to speak to that at all?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So we are predominantly an oak hickory forest, which makes for a very healthy ecosystem. But you can also see things like right here we have a shagbark hickory, and you see the shaggy bark, and it's great habitat for bats. We also have things like sassafras, and right now 2 of my favorite trees are doing their thing, and that would be the persimmon trees and the pawpaws. So I don't know if you've ever had either of those fruits.
I've at least heard of persimmon, but I've not heard of the other one.
Yeah, okay, so pawpaw is an understory tree, and it gets these really beautiful green fruits on it. It looks kind of like kind of like a short green banana.
Yeah.
And they're very squat. And so it's hard to find this fruit because a lot of the critters also like this fruit and will eat it. So, but we did manage to get some recently, and it tastes kind of like the cross between a mango and a banana. They're absolutely delicious. Yeah. So, and then of course with the persimmons, you know, the old wives' tale with the persimmons, right?
Yeah, they're like, I don't think prognosticator is quite the word I want, thinking of the groundhog, but it can predict for winter, right?
Yes, yeah. So you're supposed to be able to, well, they're delicious, first of all, but you're supposed to be able to cut the seed open and find either a knife, a spoon, or a fork. I've tested this theory several years, and I don't know how true it is, but everything that I found this year has been a spoon. So down here in southern Illinois, we're really hoping for some snow.
Sure.
Here, so.
Well, and I feel like across the state, a lot of parks have been telling me that they're dealing with drought, so it would be nice to get at least a little extra moisture from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we've also run into some folks today who are out searching for salamanders.
Yeah.
And so is this a good place for
Sure.
spotting some?
So, you know, for herps in general, I think Giant City is a great place, but you always want to make sure that you're respectful when you're out, because you have to think about this is the animal's home. So you want to keep your distance, but it is a great place to look for salamanders, and I encourage people to do so, but respectfully. What I usually will do is take a flashlight and then look in some of the wetter cracks in the rocks. And those are great places to find slimy salamanders or cave salamanders or a long-tailed salamander. So there's lots of great herping opportunities here at Giant City. And again, like I said, you want to be respectful, and you want to do it in a respectful way. You know, if you're looking for herps, you want to make sure you keep your distance. Obviously, even if it's a non-venomous snake, I tell people all the time, you know, you don't want to pick them up or harass them, because would you want somebody coming into your house?
No, ma'am.
So just be respectful, but there are a lot of really wonderful herping opportunities here. And not just here at Giant City, but in southern Illinois in general.
And so another thing that we were talking about before we started, there's another historic tie. There are structures that we can view that tell maybe a mysterious story. So let's kind of dive into that.
Yeah,
Explain that to folks.
So the Stone Fort Trail in the park. So we have a trail called Stone Fort. It is 1/3 of a mile. It's a relatively short trail, but it takes you up to the top of a mini bluff. This is one of the 11 stone forts that we have distributed across southern Illinois, and what's really interesting about them is that they're a mystery. So I think when people hear the term stone fort, they think there's going to be a big structure on top of this bluff, some elaborate fort.
Guilty.
But when you get up there, honestly, it's a pile of rocks.
Okay.
So you have to think about who built these structures. So we're talking late woodland cultures of indigenous people. So roughly 400 to 900 AD. And think about the fact that Giant City is a huge tourist destination. It was even before we became a state park in 1927. So the effect that that has on this structure, it really is a pile of rocks, okay, which doesn't sound very impressive. But there's something about the mystery that is really intriguing. There's a gentleman who's writing a book about the mysterious stone forts of Illinois, and there are a lot of theories out there. I've heard a theory that they were ceremonial, they were defensive structures. My favorite is the theory that a very friendly park visitor shared with me once, that they were extraterrestrial. So it's up for interpretation. I tend to think it's probably more along the lines of maybe a ceremonial structure.
Sure.
But if you look at a map of the stone forts and you look at a map of Illinois, they kind of are dotted across the landscape from river to river. So it's just this really little unique mystery that we have here at Giant City State Park.
No, I love that. And it lets your imagination roam a little bit.
Sure.
And, you know, try to picture what was here back in the day.
Yeah.
So in our next segment, we're going to be tagging along to Tag Monarchs with a homeschool group. One thing before we get into that, can you kind of dive into the importance of tagging? Why are we doing that? What is that process?
Absolutely. So this time of year in September, when the daylight is decreasing and the temperatures are going down, although it doesn't feel like it today, the monarchs are doing something really interesting. So this generation of monarch caterpillars that are emerging from their chrysalis are specially adapted to be able to fly thousands of miles. So they're migrating to Mexico. And so what has been happening is their populations have been declining in recent years due to habitat loss. So there is lots of research that's being done, and we participate in something called Monarch Watch. It's through the University of Kansas. And so anybody can do it. You can go online through Monarch Watch. You order tags for a very nominal fee, and then they send you the information. And so here at Giant City, we open it up for the entire month for the public to come out. Contact us, let us know when you're coming so we can make sure we have enough supplies. So we set them up, we show them how to do it, we talk about why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then we send them out to the fields with nets and we see what we can get. So this research is really important so that they can track their migration patterns. And then we also educate on why planting milkweed is very important for the monarch. And it's just a great program, and it gets families outside, so it's a win-win.
Yes, and we most definitely love our pollinators because they keep us alive.
That's right.
So before we wrap up, is there anything about Giant City that I haven't asked about? I want to give you the floor that people need to know and maybe why they should visit.
Yeah, so Giant City really is a hidden treasure. We have people as close as St. Louis, which is 2 hours away, and they come to me and they say, my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Just because of the landscape, of the sandstone rocks that we have here. There's just so many recreational opportunities in Southern Illinois in general. And Giant City really is, it's just a hidden gem. We have people who come who said they've lived in Illinois their whole lives and they didn't even know that we existed, which to me is very sad because there's so much to do here and so much to see.
Yeah.
So I just really want to encourage people to come out to the park and see what we have to offer because it's a very beautiful place. I mean, I know I'm a little biased, but it really is a wonderful place to visit.
Now, the proof is in the pudding. We could see it. It's beautiful here. So I also want to run back through just really quick. So you said there is a camping opportunity, at least on that 12-mile trail. Is there camper camping around?
There are. So we have a family campground with 85 sites, and those reservations can be made online.
Okay.
We also have 25 sites that are first come, first serve.
Awesome.
And there is electricity there for people who like to do more of the camper camping with the
glamping, yes.
But then also we have primitive sites as well for those who like to rough it a little bit more. So.
And then you had mentioned the horseback riding, and they're like a separate concessionaire type of thing?
So we do have a concessionaire here for people who don't have horses.
Okay.
They can come, they can take trail rides, but we also have a horse campground that's specially designated for horseback riders who bring their horses. And we have a beautiful 12-mile trail around the park where people can come and horseback ride.
And then there's a lodge around here, but it's not technically you all either. It's also a concessionaire.
So yeah, so the lodge does belong to the state of Illinois.
Okay.
It was built by the Civilian Conservation Corps and during the Great Depression. So we had CCC camps here at Giant City. And really the CCCs have made Giant City the park it is today. They built the lodge, and if you drive through the park, you see all of these beautiful stone retaining walls that were built in the 1930s. So it's a true testament to their handiwork. So without the Civilian Conservation Corps, there would be no Giant City Lodge, and there would be, the park wouldn't be as nice as it is today.
And so the lodge offers food? Is there also where you can stay, or?
You know, it's funny when I tell people I work at Giant City, the first words out of their mouth are usually fried chicken, which is
I've
great.
had it, can vouch, it's delicious.
And I do want to say the fried chicken is a very important part of the park. It hurts my heart just a little bit because there's so much more to see at Giant City. But yes, the fried chicken is a huge draw. And not only do they have all-you-can-eat fried chicken, but they also have cabins where people can rent a cabin and come and stay in the park.
And in our last minute or so here, can you talk about just Southern Illinois in general? Because in addition to how amazing Giant City is, while you're in the area, there's also plenty to see, you were telling me.
Oh boy, we could do a whole segment on Southern
Illinois.
Yeah, so this is my playground. It really is a miraculous place. There's just about every kind of ecosystem that you could want, from swamps, if you go down to the Cache River, which is a beautiful state site. There's water tupelo and cypress swamps. And you can walk a boardwalk and see where the snakes have gone through the duckweed, and the water tupelo and the cypress are hanging down. It's beautiful. To Snake Road and in the Shawnee National Forest, Pine Hills, we've got Garden of the Gods. There's just about every ecosystem you could possibly want in Southern Illinois. And for anybody who loves to go outdoors and spend time outside, there is absolutely no way you're going to be bored visiting Southern Illinois. There's all kinds of recreational opportunities. We have lakes, we have rivers. It's just a great place to visit and spend time.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for running through everything Giant City, and I'm really excited to meet some new friends, a little bit littler, and some that flutter. So don't go anywhere, take a hike, we'll be right back. We're going to go tag some monarchs.
Woohoo!
And welcome back. We are about to have a lot of fun checking out some monarch butterflies today, and I have two fabulous new guests with me. Can you introduce yourselves? Start with you.
Rachel Sullivan. And I'm Jackie Sisk.
Wonderful. So who do we have here today? Is it a homeschool group? Or?
We are a homeschool group. We are Wild and Free of Carbondale, Illinois.
Awesome. And so how did you get connected with Giant City to be doing this today?
We're all pretty local. We kind of surround the area. So being homeschooled, we have a lot of time throughout the day to roam. We like to be outside.
Yeah.
And we have a hiking group, so we go all over Southern Illinois and a lot of Giant City. So, yeah.
You have some more flexibility to do that, which is great. About how many kids do you have here today?
20?
20 to 25, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I see a pretty good range in age.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so our kids age from 1, I think our oldest is about 15.
Yeah.
But being homeschooled, it's wonderful, honestly, that all the age groups get to kind of congregate together. They all take care of each other. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's a different flow, and we love that. And we love that they're getting out in nature and really experiencing it. So I'll go ahead and let you all kind of get to it. It looks like the kids are taking off, and so let's have some fun and tag some monarchs.
I've had a lot of coffee.
Wait, is that real?
It is a real monarch.
Does that have no
So
line?
this is a female. So if this were a
Is it
male,
alive?
there'd be 2 little black dots on either side.
Can I hold it?
Well, we're gonna put it in there, and everybody will get a chance to touch one when we're done. How's that sound?
No.
Just be very gentle.
Don't pinch it, just with your finger.
So I'm holding it very lightly. So you know monarchs are specially adapted because they're going to fly thousands of miles away. So a lot of times when you touch... What is it?
Am I a mama?
Are you a mama? You are a beautiful girl. That's what you are. But, so this monarch is going to fly thousands of miles away, so it's specially adapted, and its scales on its wings don't come off on your finger. So it's tough. It's super tough.
You want to try?
How about we put it in the net, you think?
Yeah.
In the carrying case? All right. Woo! Oh, you got a great spangled fritillary in there. Good job. Yay!
So we hold it upside down. Okay. That'll help.
So I saw at least 3 just walking across the road
Okay.
at field 4. So.
Okay. I'll try and round everybody up.
Nope, those are just for mom.
So much. I really appreciate it. Great job.
I think it's a girl. I don't see any black dots.
Oh my gosh, don't pass any up. You can get in there too, if you feel comfortable.
Wheel number 4 is full. Oh.
Where's that?
Going across the road.
There's nothing quite like watching the next generation of budding naturalists getting to spend the day with the great outdoors as their playground and classroom. The Take a Hike crew wants to give another big thanks to the homeschool group Wild and Free of Carbondale, Illinois, for letting us tag along on their monarch tagging field day, and to Jennifer Randolph-Bollinger and Giant City State Park for having us for this episode. Hopefully, you'll consider Giant City for one of your next destinations to take a hike to. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and we'll see you next time.
Take a Hike on WEIU is supported by Roll King, America's farm and home store, camping supplies, kayaks, fishing and pet supplies, and more. Find your store and more information regarding Roll King at rollking.com.